Hey, welcome back to another episode of Then We Eat. On this week's episode, we'll be making mushroom bacon Swiss burgers. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make our burgers. In this case, I'm going to use a half pound of pork and a half pound of burger. The burger's regular ground, the pork is lean, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead. That'll make up a full pound. I actually have already done this and they're in the freezer now, but in the meantime, I'll just show you what I've done. So to the pork and beef, let's add a little bit of black pepper. We're going to keep this pretty simple actually. And a little bit of salt, not too much, just enough. And finally, some garlic powder. We'll add probably about a teaspoon or so. I'm not really all that exact on burgers. It's whatever you kind of like. Like if you don't want the garlic, don't put it in. You could always add some barbecue sauce. I'm sure you've seen in previous videos that you've seen Chris use a egg yolk. I'm not going to bother today. Something you can do. You can virtually make the burgers any way you want to make them. I'm not going to go too crazy today. A little bit of garlic, that's it, because we got a lot of other flavors going on. So let's get this mixed up. And you don't want to over mix it. No, don't undermix it either. I mean, you hear 1,000 videos where they say, just a tiny little bit. You do want to make it sure that it's at least mixed up. So I'm not going to overwork it too much, but I do want to make sure it's mixed. So I think we're about there. So the next thing we're going to do, grab our mold. Once again, I'm sure you've seen us use this before. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make up 4 4-ounce patties. Obviously, they're going to be just a tad over 4 ounces, but close enough. That's one. Put a couple of discs in. And give her a little squish down. As they say, I'm sure you've seen us do this before. Now, I'm not squishing these really, really tight, but you do want to just make sure that you try to keep them as even as possible, side to side, and give them enough squish that the air is out of them. All right, and that's it. This mold has come in really handy. All it is a piece of PVC piping that is used to connect. We've sliced it in half so that we can get it apart. We've made up little discs. We're lucky we have a CNC machine. But if you don't, you could always just use wax paper. You can still make it out of the ABS piping. A couple of clamps, cheap, easy, gives you a nice form burger. So we'll get these in the freezer. Back in a sec, carry on with the recipe. Okay, next up, let's do some mushrooms. Easy peasy. I've got a few here that I've already cleaned up. All right, so we're gonna grab a mushroom. Just grab a paper towel. You can also use a little brush if you want. And all you wanna do is just knock all the little bits of dirt off them. Remembering that mushrooms are grown in horse crap. So you do wanna at least get the dung off them. So wipe them all off. You don't wanna put them under water because they get kind of soggy and stuff. So use a paper towel or a little paintbrush. Either one works. All right, just give the end a little nip because they're normally a little bit hard. Then we'll just give them a little chop up. Okay, so there you go. Chopped up, ready to go. Just grab our induction burner here, get her plugged in. Obviously this pan is a little big for the mushrooms we're gonna cook here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook the burgers in it after, so it'll pick up any of the flavors from the mushrooms that are left over. So that's what I'm gonna do here. With the mushrooms, you can be healthy or you can not be healthy. We're not being healthy. We're gonna lather in butter instead of olive oil in this case. In my opinion, you can't cook mushrooms in oil. It's gotta be butter, but hey, to each his own. Throw in with the butter, on about a tablespoon or so. Okay, once the butter is melted, in with the mushrooms. Now I've got a medium-high heat here. I find with mushrooms that if you cook them fairly quickly, they keep a lot more of their texture. They don't seem to break down as much. So I try to cook them a little higher. Today we're using cremini mushrooms. You could use button mushrooms as well. I prefer the creminis. There's a little more flavor to them. And the texture is a little chewier than a regular button mushroom. But you could use any mushrooms you want into this at all. Shiitake would be amazing. The other thing you'll find when you're cooking mushrooms is when you first put them in the pan, all of the oil, whatever, if you're using butter or whether you're using olive oil, whatever the case may be, the mushrooms will absorb all of that moisture. Don't get too panicky. Let it cook out some, because generally about partway through the cooking, it'll start letting go of all that juice again, and you don't want really watery mushrooms. You can see these are just browning up really nicely, which is exactly what we want. A few flipped over. So once you got the mushrooms browned up about the way you'd like them, these look pretty good to me. They're pretty much all brown, not overcooked, so I think I'm going to stop there. I certainly don't want to overcook them. So at this point, I'm just going to add about maybe a tablespoon or so of white wine. There's not a lot of mushrooms here. And we'll just let that cook down. We're deglazing the pan. There's not a lot to deglaze here. So we're just going to let this boil off now, and the mushrooms should be good to go. The other thing you could do is you could add a little bit of onion to this as well. I'm not going to today, but you could add a little onion to this as well. So on top of cooking off all of the liquid, you're also going to burn off the alcohol. So there's not going to be any alcohol left when you're done. Just gives it a really nice flavor. All right, these look good to me, so we're going to haul these off. Shut down the... So I'm not going to clean the pan. Little butter, little mushrooms, that's not going to hurt the bacon. It's just going to add a little more flavor. So let's get the bacon going. Normally I'd start with a cold pan. This one's a little warm, obviously, because we were just using it. So it'll be a little warmer. Pan is off at the moment. So I need enough for three burgers tonight. So I'm just going to do 6 strips of bacon. Okay, so we've got the bacon in the pan. Let's get it turned back on again. We'll get the bacon cooked up. Okay, bacon's done. Let's get it out of the pan. I'm not going to clean the pan. There is a little too much bacon fat in here, so I'm going to take a little bit out, but I'm going to leave some of it in. Once again, we'll get a little bit more flavor into the burgers. Okay, so the burgers are up next. Just give me 2 seconds, I'll grab them out of the freezer. Okay, so these are the burgers I did up earlier today, so they're probably pretty frozen. It was a couple hours ago, so let's pop these open, get the burgers out. So just so you know, basically what we did was we used a pound of hamburger or ground beef and a pound of ground pork. I made up 4 4-ounce patties earlier so we can get them frozen, so we weren't taking all day with you guys. And then the ones that I made while you watched, we'll just pop them in the freezer. We have them for another day. Well, they're not exactly 100%, but that's all right. They'll be fine. Yeah, a little squishy on one side, not enough on the other, but all good. So, we'll get our cooktop back. We'll be right back. All right, so let's get the burgers going. Once again, fire up the cooktop. Again, you're looking for medium to medium high. And in with the burgers. Now, I'm only doing 2 of these burgers as the Swiss mushrooms, so I'm just going to add the cheese to the 2 now. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got some sliced Swiss cheese here. Slap that on. And I think what I'll do is I'll add a second slice. Just give that a little cover. Turn it down a bit. Let that cheese melt. All right, cheese is melted. Let's get these off the heat. Now, we're going to be kind of quick here because I don't want the cheese to cool down too much. All right, I'm just going to drain the pan. I'll be right back. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to toast the inside of the bun, not the outside. These are brioche buns, but I'm just going to give a little toast on the inside. Helps keep the burger just a little less soggy. So pop them in the pan. There's a little bit of bacon fat and burger juice in there still. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Okay, burgers are nicely toasted up, as you can see. So let's get this off the heat. Let's do up a burger. Get our bun down, burger on top, a few mushrooms, some bacon. Then we're just going to take the top of the bun, put on a little mayo. Now, the other thing that's really good on this is if you saw our video from a couple of years ago, we did a sriracha dip. It would be really good on this as well. You can see that video over my shoulder. Top on. And there you go. One bacon mushroom Swiss burger. So before we try this burger, hit the like button if you like this video. Share it with all your buddies. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time we upload a new video, which is basically every Friday afternoon. We'd really love your comments. So if you could comment on the video, let us know what you thought. Let us know what we should make next. Let us know how we're doing. And in the meantime, let me try this burger. All right, I'm just gonna give this a little cutty here. Look at this. Beautiful, perfectly cooked, nice mushrooms. Always so good. This is a really nice burger. Not overdone. Little tiny bit of spice, not a whole lot. Brings out the mushrooms, brings out the Swiss cheese. It's just a really good burger. Simple to make. And man, there's a lot of flavor going on here. So, that's it for this video. And don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. So good.